Hello everyone. Today we will see how to turn this HTML system radio component to a custom radio component. Let's get started. As you can see on the Visual Studio, I'm writing the custom radio div tag, and then I started writing the structure for my radio buttons. It is very important you get the structure correct first. So as you can see here, I have created a label tag and I'm wrapping input radio inside the label, and then I'll also add a span tag inside the label. So this structure is very important, so you follow the same structure to create the custom radio. As you can see here, I'm creating multiple labels and wrapping the input radio type inside the label. And for each label, I'll be defining ID and the radio group name. Once you save this HTML file, this is what you will see on your browser. Next, I will go to the CSS file, and this is where I'll make my radio group to stay at the center of the page. For this, I'm using display flex, height 100 VH, width 100 VW, that is v width and v height. And then with the help of align item center and justify content, I'll be able to make my radio group at the center of the page. I'll start writing display flex because I want my radio buttons to be aligned equally, and then I'll give a gap of 24 pixel. As you can see, there's a gap created. Next, I'll go ahead and create the label. I'll write the CSS for label, as I wanted it to be position relative, because I don't want any of the label content to go outside the parent. Then I've set the display flex. Next, I'll go ahead and change the input radio CSS. This is an important step here because I want my browser to treat the appearance as none, and I'll do the same for WebKit browsers, and I'll use both WebKit and the appearance, the default CSS as well. So what it does is basically it hides your input radio button. With this, I have control now to use any other element in place of input type equal to radio. Then I'll go ahead and make the position absolute. This is where I get good control to then start writing the CSS for my pseudo element. I forgot to add the cursor pointer, so I just added pointer cursor for my label. Then I will go ahead and add the pseudo element before for my input radio button. So this is where it gets interesting, and then you start writing content none and then position absolute. So as you can see here, I'm setting the height 18 pixel and width 18 pixel, and then I'll add a border 2 pixel solid with the intended color, the hex code. What basically it does is, once you preview now, we got a box with 18 pixel height and width, and then with the desired color. So I'll go ahead and change the border radius, so we have a circle now. Then I'll move it left. Yeah. Now the next step is to see whether I have the span tag, as you can see here in HTML, for all three span tags. I'll go ahead and add some padding left. Let's make it display flex first, and then I will add the padding left. So what it does is it creates a padding left from the circle, and also I'll keep some margin top. As you can see here, it created a padding left 32 pixel from the box which I created now with the before, and then from the label. So we have a good amount of spacing here. Next I go ahead and start writing the code for the next pseudo element, that is, just remove this, checked. So what basically I'm trying to achieve here is every checkbox and radio has checked state. So I'm just making use of the checked state and then adding the intended code. Now nothing happens here when I click, but the magic is actually happening in the next step when I change the text, the checked to after. This is where I'm going to write an additional code, content blank, and then position, I'll be writing position absolute, and then I'll write the intended spacing for my next box. So basically what I'm trying to achieve here is mimicking how the the radio button works on HTML. Similar to that, I'm creating a pattern with the two boxes. Let me add the background color. Let's see how it looks once I add the height and width. Save. So this is where you got a box. Now let me try to add the border radius. As you can see, the click works. Just only one thing pending, that is the border radius that needs to be added. Now it is circle. As you can see, now we have created our custom radio button on click of every label. Let me also change the font family. Let me just use the system UI for this reference. Yes, sans serif. Save. So we have the beautiful radio button, and we have no more the boring radio button from HTML system component. Let's add the cursor pointer as well for the checkbox, so for the radio buttons. Thank you so much for watching. This is how you can create custom radio button using HTML and CSS.